Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. I just wanted to take a short minute in this video and give my condolences to everybody who's been affected by DJ Dan's passing. DJ Dan was an amazing DJ, and growing up in Los Angeles like I did, there was no bigger DJ than DJ Dan or Doc Martin. Two iconic DJs of the scenes growing up in the early '90s. Throughout the '90s in Los Angeles, they were, DJ Dan was a DJ's DJ. He was some of the best DJs can get you dance to music that you don't necessarily like, and I have to admit, like growing up in Los Angeles, I liked a lot of the chill out music, but I was really more focused on what was going on in Europe with techno and Detroit techno and Los Angeles was an interesting time of funky techno and different breakbeat music and blending trance, and I do appreciate a lot of that music, but it wasn't always my favorite music that I was really into at the time. But DJ Dan was one of those DJs that he was so good, and the way he moved through different styles, he could get you to like music that you normally wouldn't like, and he'd get you to dance to music that you may not normally dance to. But there was times when he just made you go off, and he was just a electric DJ. And I don't think there was any real DJ that I saw maybe more times DJing than DJ Dan. Like he was just, it seemed like he was playing at every party in Los Angeles almost every weekend, and of course in San Francisco too. But he came from an era in the '80s when you were growing up as a DJ. He's a couple years older than me, but he comes from a time where your knowledge as a DJ was so important, and that was your voice as a DJ. Like without the knowledge, I don't know if it really kind of hits home for people that are younger than me now, but like your knowledge is everything as a DJ. It's not necessarily like it's great to have skills at DJing. It's great to know your ins and outs of what you're using and stuff like that, but there's nothing more important than your knowledge of music and reading a crowd and knowing what to play when. Like DJ Dan was he could do it all, and that's really what I took back from his DJing. But also even more important, it just everybody who knew him. I had a lot of friends that knew him personally and acquaintances that knew him, and it was almost impossible not to meet a raver in those days that didn't have a great story about DJ Dan and meeting him hit by chance at a gas station or an after hours club or just at a record store or something like that. You never heard anybody say a bad word about DJ Dan, and I think we can all kind of aspire to that. It feels like a part of my childhood kind of, or those rave days kind of taken away, and it's kind of a shock, and I won't pretend that I knew him. I've long since lost a lot of my CDs and mixed cassettes from him over the years from moving. Don't quite have the collection that a lot of ravers do about his older music, but a lot of memories of seeing him live and seeing his name on flyers, and every picture he's had, he just has that big smile, and and just no ego, just all about love, all about his music. A tragic loss, and I'm sure everybody will be missing those times, and I would say if there was any, him and Doc Martin were just the most important West Coast DJs of all time. You could put Mark Farina in there too, Steve Loria, Ron Decor as well. Certainly Simply Jeff in there I would throw in there, but some amazing DJs in those times, special memories, and we'll definitely miss DJ Dan. So shout out to everybody who went and danced to him and played his music and played his mix CDs and was a friend of his, family members. Certainly a big loss, and we'll definitely be playing a lot of his great mixes for years to come. It's definitely an empty feeling without him, and I would hope that somebody in LA, name a street after him, name a club after him, do something to remember his name. I know other cities have done that in the past, like Frankie Knuckles and things like that, and when people pass. But they should definitely do something special for DJ Dan, and hopefully they do, out of respect for a legendary DJ who's meant a lot to a lot of people. Rest in peace, DJ Dan.